Here's today's First Word Daily Devotion.
It's February the 24th today, and yesterday, if you remember, in our Leviticus reading, we saw the fire of the Lord consume the offering. Well, today, in our reading, as we turn over to to Leviticus chapter 10 and 11, we see the Lord consuming people. And the reason that He consumed people is because we get this phrase, "Our God is a consuming fire," from a passage such as this. We also get the understanding of the phrase, "Obedience is better than sacrifice," from a passage like this today. Here we have this passage that's peculiar, this passage that highlights the literal strange fire of Nadab and Abihu. Look at chapter 10. Now Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer and put fire in it and laid incense on it and offered, look at this language, unauthorized fire before the Lord, which He had not commanded them. So what is it that makes the fire unauthorized? They did something contrary to the commandment of the Lord. The literal translation here, you notice you have an ESV footnote. Unauthorized can be translated strange. And look what happens, verse 2. Fire came out from before the Lord and consumed them. As opposed to consuming the offering, the fire this time consumes them, and they died before the Lord. Now, look at the response that the Lord has in verse 3. Moses said to Aaron, "This is what the Lord has said. Among those who are near me, I will be sanctified, and before all the people, I will be glorified." And look at the response. Aaron held his peace. And the Lord desires to take the hearts of the people, the desires of the people, and show them what they should desire. They are to desire Him in everything that they do. He is training their affections to follow His ways. The reason is because our affections, as we've discovered in the biblical narrative, our affections have been turned inward. Instead of upward, they've been turned inward towards ourselves, towards our desires. Well, the only problem with that is in our quest for autonomy, we forget that we're not autonomous. Instead of being autonomous, we are created. And if we are created, then that means that there is a creator. And if there's someone greater than us, then we can't be the center of all that there is. And so the purpose of this, again, is just to show as the Lord continues to train our affections towards Him. Now let's turn over to Mark chapter 3. Mark chapter 3 is a peculiar passage that I know that several of you are going to have a lot of questions about. And we'll see this passage. We'll discuss this again in Luke chapter 10. I believe it's verse 12 when we get there in our reading. But I want to talk to you today just for a minute about the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. Look at verse 28. Truly I say to you, all sins will be forgiven the children of man, and whatever blasphemes they utter, but whoever blasphemes against the Holy Spirit never has forgiveness, but is guilty of an eternal sin. For they were saying, He has an unclean spirit. So let's unpack this just a little bit. First, your mind probably gravitates like mine does towards the negative, and that is, what is this blasphemy of the Holy Spirit? And the reason that your mind is so concerned about that is because all of us desire eternal redemption. All of us desire salvation. And what is this language then of there something being unforgivable? Well, that's the negative. But look at the positive. The positive here in verse 28. Truly I say to you, all sins will be forgiven that the children of man and whatever blasphemies they utter. There is an opportunity for us to experience total redemption, total atonement, total salvation that Jesus Christ offers. But then there's this notion that there's some things that are outside the realm of forgiveness. And what is it particular here? Here's what I think. Read the context. The blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is the rejection of the salvific work of Jesus Christ. And look, if you have rejected if you think that you have rejected the salvific work of Jesus Christ, well, there's hope. And where do you say is the hope? Well, the hope in the ESV Everyday Bible, it's so incredible how the Bible just fits together as one book. The hope is in Psalm 51, where we come to the Lord and we ask for forgiveness. And if you ask for forgiveness, then you don't have to worry about the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, because all sins will be forgiven.